And what's going on, everybody? And we are logging on to episode 143 of the podcast. We have a very special episode for you guys today. Another spotlight interview, in fact, with an MMA fighter. We have today Nick Carrelli. Nice to meet you, first and foremost, and thank you for joining the podcast.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course. I first want to say, like I mentioned before, congratulations. You're about to get married, which is incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, you're about to make your professional debut too, which is
man.
also incredible.
Yeah. A little close, so I got to stick and move in this fight. I can't have too many scars in the picture.
Oh, yeah, true. But no, that's so good for you, man. Anyone that goes professional in MMA, it takes a lot of work, first and foremost, and a lot of dedication with mentality and everything like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, because this is my first time meeting you, where are you from? Where were you born? Where are you now? And where are you training?
So I was originally from New York.
Okay.
Moved over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was from Staten Island.
Okay.
Moved over here. I went to Howell High School.
Nice.
And that's where I wrestled, played football, the whole 9 yards.
Hell yeah.
Got into MMA a little bit later in life.
Mm-hmm.
But I started off, once I graduated, I started into boxing heavily.
Okay.
And then went down a little bit of a dark path, which I'll get into later on in the podcast.
Sure.
And then I found MMA, which kind of brought me back to myself.
Love that.
So, yeah, now we're here.
Awesome.
Making our pro debut in about 4 weeks,
Incredible.
So I'm super excited about that.
Now, we'll get into the process of how long it took you to become professional when you actually started to move toward that direction and everything like that. But what I want to know first, when did you first realize that MMA was a passion of yours?
Oh, I was young.
Were you young?
Yeah, I was very young. Very young. Yeah, I think even before high school.
Really?
Yeah, I used to hang out with, I don't know if you know Zach Campbell, Joe Barilla.
Campbell sounds familiar
guys,
to me. Yeah.
Cesar Garcia. We used to run around. We were always skateboarding. We all came from like broken homes.
Okay.
So we were always in the street, hanging out, like late at night too. And it was always, I remember UFC 1, 2, 3. Like we would always watch those.
Wow.
Like, heavily into it. And we were just always super passionate about fighting.
Yeah.
Like we would always even call out guys from our school, like, hey, let's meet up behind Angelo's and let's fight. No bad blood. We just loved the sport, so we always wanted to do it. Yeah. And I think I'm the only guy that pursued it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Were you a troublemaking kid back in high school of that nature, getting into fights and whatnot?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit too much.
A little bit too much?
I think I had the potential to be like state placer and wrestler.
Oh.
But the fact that I couldn't stay out of trouble
gotcha.
Which is good, I guess, in a sense, because I would have peaked then and I wouldn't have pursued what I'm doing now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think everything unfolds how it's supposed to.
Without a doubt.
Now we're making, like I said, making our pro debut with the right head on our shoulders, and I think it's all from that.
Yes, and you live and you learn throughout the way of life.
Yeah,
that's all it is. So awesome. So you were big into watching UFC, obviously, from the very beginning.
Yeah, Frank Mir, all those
That's
guys.
what I was about to ask. Who
Randy
are some
Couture.
big inspirations for you, man?
Chuck Liddell. I remember Chuck Liddell's overhand right. I always was like, you know what, I want to hit that in a street fight. I never pulled it off in a street fight, but those were the guys I was watching. I was like, I want to be like these guys.
Yeah.
And now the sport evolves, and now I'm like, you know what, I want to be like these guys. I want to be the more crisp version of that.
Right.
But I always loved it. Always. My father, too. We always loved UFC.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how big UFC and MMA blew up over the years too.
Yeah,
it's
major.
Insanely popular now. Dana White is a celebrity in his own right, like in a sense, for being the head of all this and everything like that.
Yeah,
you know.
Of course.
And I know they just acquire the WWE as well. Like, aren't they expanding? Or am I wrong on that?
Maybe. Or they might have been buying Bellator. I think they just bought. I'm not sure, but I've seen a lot of Bellator's top fighters now. They're on the UFC's roster.
Oh.
I don't know if that's like conspiracy or what, but I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know if they bought WWE though.
I could be wrong on
that. What's his name?
Vince McMahon, I believe.
I think
he just came back.
Oh, he did.
He just came back and sold it.
All right, cool.
Yes, I don't know who they sold it to and
I don't
whatnot.
know.
Because I just recently started getting into UFC. I mean, I watched matches here and there back in the day and whatnot, but now when there's two people that like I'm interested in, it's like, oh, this could be a good matchup.
Yeah.
I'll pay for the pay-per-view. I'll host a little something at the house and just have a good time and everything like that.
There's so many good matchups now.
Yeah.
Every weekend it's like the Super Bowl. There are so many good matchups.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of your favorite matchups in, like, maybe say the past 2 years, if you could recall?
Past 2 years?
Yeah.
Anything that has to do with Volkanovski.
Oh, okay.
Big Volkanovski guy.
Gotcha.
I'm obviously same height, same type of. That's kind of my style. I've geared a lot of my style towards what he does.
Okay.
So I love anytime he's on. Like I'm whatever we got planned. Fiance knows like we're doing that tonight. Like we're watching him. We're gonna stop whatever we're doing. We're gonna watch him. So whatever has to do with him, I love. So it kind of. He just got knocked out in his last fight, so that kind of got under my skin a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, there's been a lot of good matchups, and then upcoming matchups. I think John Jones is coming back.
I think I heard something a little bit like a little rumor about that. To be honest with you.
Or he might have tore his pec or something. I don't know of that nature, but there's so many good matchups. I can't even think of one right now.
Yeah, they're like you said, there are so many big ones that happen almost every weekend.
Every weekend, it's like the Super Bowl.
Nowadays. Yeah,
I think it's bigger than the NFL. Maybe I'm a little biased. But
I think
it's actually the biggest
I think
sport
it's
on the
getting
planet.
there. I think it's getting there. Like, people say that soccer, like, worldwide is, like, the biggest sport, like, ever and whatnot. But I think UFC, especially because you have people from so many different countries fighting in the UFC, and everyone's involved.
It's ingrained. We're meant to do that. Like, as human beings, like, we are meant to do this. So it scratches an instinctual itch.
Yes.
Where anybody, even my fiance Angelica, loves it. Like, when the TV's on and fights are going on, everyone stops and watches, especially if it's a good one.
Yeah, the eyes are glued to the TV.
Oh, yeah. And Dana White even said it, too. Like, any other sport that's going on, when a fight happens, everyone stops and watches the fight.
Yes.
So it scratches an instinctual itch.
Yeah,
That's why everybody loves it so much.
It's like you said, it was meant to be that it's so entertaining and everything like that. Like, you think about back in the day, like Coliseums and everything, and you saw people fighting to the death. Like, people watch people fight to the goddamn death, you know? Like, it's
and people are willingly going to do it because it's like, you know what? This is what we're put here to do. We're meant to be primal.
Yes.
And that's what it is. That's what I'm so lucky I was able to find this, where I get to be primal to an extent of, obviously, death doesn't happen, but again, it scratches that itch of like, you feel the energy you feel on fight night, win or lose, is fucking incredible.
I'm sure.
Like, it is incredible. Even luckily only have one loss in MMA, but even that one loss, like, afterwards I was backstage. Angelica, my fiance, thought I was going to be super upset. I was fucking hyped up. I was like, that was a great fight.
Yeah.
Like, that was fun. I was getting stitched up by a guy who wasn't even a doctor, but I still was like, that was fucking fun. Like, that was a good time, and I'm so lucky to be able to do this sport.
I'm sure it's a great outlet for you and everything like that, as far as maybe either what you're going through or just having fun. Either side of it.
Yeah.
So, how many matches have you had?
MMA, I've had 5. I've had a bunch of like boxing smokers, which is considered like they're fights but they're not like sanctioned fights.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like you go to like our coaches bring us to a gym, let's say in Brooklyn, and like, all right, this is who you're fighting. So, like, I've had some of those. I've had a lot of JiuJitsu tournaments, which is just grappling, but it's, like, submission only.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't consider those fights, but you go one-on-one with a stranger.
Yeah.
They have a set of skills. You have a set of skills. You got to figure it out. Like, you're under the lights still, you know? So, that helped a lot. And then, obviously, wrestling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that's probably, like, 20 matches to 50 matches. Like
even just you go to a Christmas tournament, you got 6 matches in a day.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, stuff like, if you win, if you do well,
you keep on moving forward.
You keep moving forward.
Yes, right.
I would have liked a little bit more amateur MMA fights. However, I think I'm going pro at the perfect time.
Okay.
And the coaches around me, if they thought I needed more, like Nick Carrelli, Frankie Edgar, all these guys, Mark Gray, like, if they didn't think I was ready, they wouldn't be sending me. And I feel like this is the time.
Incredible.
Like, it's time for us to go pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you train? Because a little fun fact, at the wedding I was at yesterday, Luke's wedding, by the way, just got married. Yeah. I saw Evan Gans, who I believe you know.
Man, yeah.
Don't you train with him at the same gym?
He's a kickboxer out of our gym.
Oh, okay,
so
gotcha.
I'm on the MMA team. He's on the kickboxing team. But, like, when I'm getting ready for a fight, I'm sparring with our boxing team. I'm sparring with our kickboxing team. I'm sparring with our MMA team. So he's actually, like, a super tough round. He's a tough kid. I think he only has like 2 or 3 kickboxing fights. Oh. That fucking kid can crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some dogs in his... I mean, he's a Gans.
Yeah, he's a Gans.
Yeah. Even Connor, with the injury he had, he's still tougher than most guys I know. You know what I mean?
110%.
Yeah, he's a Gans. He's a tough kid, so...
Yeah. So
we trained down at Nickon Brick.
Nickon Brick. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Nice. And how long have you been there training?
It's got to be over 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know the exact date I went in. I just started to get clean, and that's like when I got in there.
Yeah.
So it's got to be about 7.
Okay.
7 years, and I've been cross-training all over. Like, I go to... we got a coach named Sean Santella, Shorty Rock. He's a black belt who coaches everybody. He coaches all over the tri-state. So, like, wherever he goes, we kind of follow him like nomads.
Okay,
so, like, wherever he goes to Pure Jiu-Jitsu, we'll go there. Like, I'll be at Asbury Park Jiu-Jitsu with K-Rod, Kevin Rodney. So, I cross-train a lot to get different looks. And I like certain coaches that I work with. Mm-hmm. And they just so happen to have a wide array of bodies under them. Mm-hmm. So, it's nice. Like, Wednesday night, I'll go to Asbury. Thursday, I'll go to Pure. And then the rest of the time, I'm at Nick's. And I just get to see a whole wide array of different styles.
Yeah.
So it's nice in that sense.
You're learning all the trades of fighting, basically.
Yeah, and all the different styles in those trades. So, like, jiu-jitsu is its own trade, but it has 9 different ways you can do it.
Right.
Kickboxing, same thing. You got the aggressors. You got the Israel Adesanyas who are going to feint and move. So it's nice. I get to see everything. And off of that, I built my own little style.
There you go. Okay, let's get into that a little bit now too. Like your style of fighting. Did that take a long time to figure out?
No. The beautiful thing about fighting is there's no hiding or faking anything. Like when those lights are on, you're naked in there, literally and figuratively.
Right.
You know, like if you're a coward, people are going to see that you're a coward quick. If you're aggressive, people are going to see that you're aggressive quick. If you're a smooth, like your personality is how you fight almost.
Yeah.
If you're a smooth guy, you're going to be feinting, you're going to be moving. If you're a wrestler, like you can't hide who you are. So who I am as a person is kind of how I fight. I'm a very like upbeat, like even the guys at work, they're like, dude, you don't shut the fuck up. It's like, so that's how I fight too. Very high pace. Like, I like to be in your
very
face.
Energetic.
But again, from my one loss, like I realized you got to be in someone's face, but strategically.
Sure.
Like you can't just be fucking running amok, or a guy who knows what they're doing is going to utilize that against you.
Of course.
So I am a very ultra aggressive, fast paced person, and now I'm starting to learn. I learned. That's why I'm able to go professional now. My coaches have seen how to dial it back and be strategic with it as well.
Okay,
so I'm a little bit more of an aggressor. I like to be aggressive, but I'm also okay with sticking and moving and move. You know what I'm saying?
Being swift and everything like that.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to turn it on and off.
Yeah. Now, being more of the aggressor, more energetic type of way when fighting, would you say there's the fault to that and getting tired too quick? Was that something you had to deal with?
So something I'm super excited about going professional is in amateur it's only 3-minute rounds.
Okay.
Pro it's 5-minute rounds, and I utilize my gas tank very well. Like even in the jiu-jitsu tournaments that were no time limit, sub only, like I'm thriving 8, 9, 10, 11 minutes in. Like my gas tank is my biggest weapon.
Yes.
Especially, and in the gym too, like we come from a gym where it's all UFC fighters and professionals. I was kind of like the last guy to turn pro. So we were always sparring 5-minute rounds, and I was always turning it up 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th round into the session, because my gas tank is when I could really pour it on guys. That's where I separate myself a lot from the guys in the room. So I feel really good with my cardio, and I'm kind of excited to see how I do now. I got a whole 5-minute round to work.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be nice.
Okay, very nice. So cardio is a big part of your workout routine as well. Put fighting training aside. Working out, cardio, running, and everything like that. Do you have a process with all that too?
Yeah, so I work full time in the union in the city. Okay. So I got to do all my strength and conditioning and cardio at 4 a.m. before work, because at night we do our skills work. And Nick's very strict on us being there. Like, you got to be there for jiu-jitsu, this, and this. Yeah. So I got to get up a little earlier and do my strength and conditioning and stuff. I'm not big on just running. I like bursts, because fighting's bursts. True. Fight for the takedown. You get it. You don't chill, but like it's different levels. It's not just one pace. Like you got to sprint, kind of coast. Sprint, coast. So I'll do supersets, sprints. I'll do a lot of push-ups, pull-ups, obviously, just to keep the body physically strong. Yeah. And then I do a lot of my mobility work, and then I'll head into the city, go to work, come home, and then I'm doing my skills training at night.
Good for you, man. Yeah. You sound like an extremely hard worker, not even just at work, but in your training and your side stuff, which seems to be becoming one of your main things now too, going professional. Man, so very good for you. Thank you. There's no one that can't appreciate the work that you put into something, and it sounds like you're doing it, my man, right there.
Yeah, thank you.
So throughout the fights that you've had so far, you were listing some of them down. As far as like just MMA, leave the wrestling aside and everything like that, how many of those have you had where it was like, maybe not a title fight, I don't know the exact word to say for it, but like it was almost promoted? You know what I'm saying?
So they do a real good job with all the amateurs, and especially coming from the team I'm at. Every fight I had was like, it seemed like the biggest thing in the world. Even though awesome. I know now, looking back, it wasn't. But I was always like posters were up around the gym. Like, it was always a big deal within my tight community I had. Like, obviously, I'm not a famous guy. But, like, within the circle that we have, even with my friends and family, like, every single fight from my debut to my last amateur fight was like, yo, Nicky's fighting. Like, huge. You better clear your day. We're going to go watch him fight, you know? And I got to start my career off in Atlantic City. So that was also, like, a nice little hype. That's awesome. Yeah. But then COVID happened, and rules there are a little washy. So we had to go to PA to fight professional rules, so I got better experience.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did my last 3 fights in PA. My first 2 were in Jersey. In Atlantic City, yeah.
Where in Atlantic City? What
was
resort
right by.
It was hotel or anything?
We did the Showboat for the first 2.
Okay.
And then we had to transfer. We went to the Poconos for the last.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
So explain to me, when you said you went to the Poconos and you had to fight, what kind of rules did you say?
So when you fight in New Jersey, you weigh in the same day, which is brutal for the fighters. Because I still fought at 145. So I was cutting weight. I did 155, I think, one time just because it was same day weigh-ins. So it's same day weigh-ins. You weren't allowed to ground and pound, and you had to wear shin guards. All 3 of those, that's not getting me ready for, first of all, the big leagues or a real fight.
Right.
So we went over to PA where shin guards came off, ground and pound was allowed, where you can punch on the ground. Yeah. Weigh-ins were 24 hours before, so I can kind of feel what it's like to really cut a good amount of weight, rehydrate properly, because that's a big asset as well.
Well, as far as the weight.
Yeah, yes, so you cut a lot of weight, and if you don't rehydrate properly, you're gonna have a tough time performing.
Wow.
So I was able to get that experience. So it was just a lot of really good experience. And also the guys in PA, I'm not saying the guys in Jersey were not as great. Those guys I fought in PA, even the easy matchups on paper, those were we had some fights, you know? Yeah, so it was good.
Why do you think that the rules are different from Jersey and PA as far as no ground and pound and you got to wear shin guards and everything like that?
I'm not actually sure. I don't know. I think Jersey tries to protect guys a little bit too much, but it's kind of counterintuitive.
Right, because if you're going to go professional and everything like that, it's a little step of being unprepared in that sense.
It's 100% a step of being unprepared. First of all, same day weigh-ins, horrible.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good
I had a few teammates that I fought with who are very, very good fighters, but they did same day weigh-ins at a weight class that maybe they shouldn't have been fighting at same day, got dropped with a jab because they were dehydrated and they had 30 minutes to rehydrate because the commission shows up late. It's just not, fighting as an amateur in New Jersey is very difficult. So that's why we made our switch. We got the pro set rules, we got the weigh-ins on point, so that was a nice experience to have.
And are you going to stick with going to PA as far as other fights before?
I mean, no, I don't think so. No. Now that we're pro, I mean, I'm going to fight in the Poconos this time because it was a great opportunity that arose. My coach sent me, he was like, hey, Maverick, the promotion I'm fighting for, they're doing a show December 1st.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, whatever. Get me on it. We'll go pro. And then after that, like, I want to be back. I want to be at the Hard Rock.
Hell yeah.
I want to be back at Tropicana. Like, those are what I have. I was actually supposed to turn pro September 8th at Tropicana. That kid wound up pulling out. I mean, not saying anything. He had his injuries. You know, it's a brutal sport, and then it delayed me a little bit. So now I'm back in the Poconos, which I don't mind. I love fighting for Maverick. They treat us really well.
Good.
They pay for our rooms.
Oh, so incredible. That's nice.
Willie, the owner, even Jenny, they text you personally, like, hey, how you doing with medicals, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so they're
that's
really
important, too.
Oh, it's major.
That's very, that is major.
Because then you'll go with promotions that are like, they're salesmen, you know?
And they don't really give a shit that much. Exactly, right, exactly. But you know what? That could get them in trouble, too, in a sense, maybe also. Yeah. Unless, like, you're signing someone who's like, all right, whatever happens to me, I guess it's on me, you know, like, sort of thing. You know?
I mean, listen, it's a fight at the end of the day, so, like, I don't care about that.
You gotta
if you're going to treat me good, there's a chance I'm going to come back and fight for you. You know, we sell good tickets, so, like, I'm going to make you money, you take care of me, like, we're good. You know what I mean?
You got to work as a force, like a team, like, in a sense, in that way. You got to work together, and listen, you got to, and it seems like you know this already, too, knowing your value as far as, like, the selling of tickets and everything like that. Like, you know what I mean?
It's a business, and we bring money, you know? We bring revenue.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the aggressive type of fighting style that you'd go with, what about your attitude before the fight, after the fight, towards your opponent? What's your...
towards my opponent?
Yeah,
I'm actually like... All right, so this is a problem. Not a problem, but my teammates are like, you got to stop doing that. But like, it's who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Me and my fiance had gotten baptized 2 years ago. Like, I'm a Christian, and I believe you were put in my path to make me a better man. So like afterwards, I'm very like, I'd say close with a lot of my opponents. Like we reach out, like they'll send me their opponents. I'll watch film for them. Like,
oh, great.
Like beforehand and during, like, dude, it's fucking on. Like, you're coming for me, I'm coming for you. But afterwards, always wind up turning out to be like very good friends of mine.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it should be, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
Unless like it, you have these big guys like McGregor and everything like that, where they might, I don't know if he does it all for show, all the shit talking and everything like that. Well,
here's my thing about that is, you can't hide who you are in MMA.
Well,
so if it's really who you are, we're all going to know. I think that's really who he is.
Okay.
So it's very entertaining and it's sold, where like other guys like Colby Covington, or when they force it, you're like, I can't listen to this shit.
Yeah.
But I think when you got a guy, and then you got a guy like Volkanovski, who is very humble, and he's the same kind of approach as me. He sells as well, because people know it's real. If you're really nice and you do what you got to do, people love you. If you're a dick and that's really who you are, people love you. You just got to be who you are.
How about being a dick, but then you're not performing or like not backing it up like every time? Are you gonna sell tickets?
No, you always But no matter what, you always gotta win. Even if you're a nice guy and you lose, people are like,
right,
maybe he's not meant for this.
Right,
you know what I mean?
True.
So like at the end of the day, you still got to be a killer in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always, first and foremost.
I think once you step into that ring, it's either brain shuts off or you have your eye on the prize sort of mentality and whatnot, and nothing else matters. Yeah. Is that how it's like when you step in there?
Yeah, when I'm in there, I feel like I'm super present.
Present in the moment.
Present. Very present. Like I do a lot of... In camps, I'm alone a lot with my thoughts. So, like, I get to organize everything on what it is and unpack all the emotions that I have.
Ah, okay.
So, like, I'm very lucky with that, because I got a 2-hour commute there, to work, 2-hour commute home. So, those are my 4 hours of the day to, like, I'm alone with my thoughts, and I'm thinking, like, not on my phone, nothing. I'm thinking, like, objectively, what are these emotions? What are the good ones? What are the ones that are bullshit? What's going to hold you back? So by the time that I approach fight night, I am very present. Like backstage, when I'm warming up, I'm warming up. When I'm walking out, I'm walking out. When I'm going into round one, I'm going into round one. I visualize it all, and that kind of helps me be present in the exact moment. Even you get hurt in a fight, you get touched with a punch that your brain doesn't like.
Right.
I visualize myself recovering from that, dealing with it, and coming back from it. So when it happens in the fight, I'm okay, this is happening, I've been here.
Yes.
So you're able to just stay very, very present on everything that's happening. You gotta train really hard, think really hard, and then just when the fight happens, let it all flow out. Let it be like art.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot.
That's my perspective on it.
Very nice. It's almost like an assembly line sort of deal, like preparing your thoughts and then letting them out in a certain order, or whatever sequence of events happen. Let them out that way. Okay, I like that a lot. Very nice.
You could never predict fight night, no matter what.
Definitely not.
You visualize every sequence possible, but when it comes to fight night, things happen. Bones are being thrown. You're two grown men that are very trained.
Yeah.
So you deal with what's coming at you. You deal with what you're throwing at that person, and you hope God's on your side that night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Have you had any injuries in the past from fights or even through training or whatnot?
I mean, of course.
Big ones, though? Has it delayed you in any sort of way for fights?
I never let it. So
let it, okay.
This is actually my first fight. Knock on wood, we still got 4 weeks that I'm going into healthy.
Okay.
Every one of my other fights, I had my debut fight, my debut MMA fight, I tore a cartilage in my rib.
Oh, really?
So I wasn't able to prepare as I would have liked to, but we still, again, we got in there with confidence, visualization, and we got the job done.
Hell yeah.
It wasn't my cleanest performance. I don't know if it was because of the injury or because of my debut, but every fight I've had, my teammates will say the same thing. They're like, we don't know if you're a grappler, if you're a striker. It's kind of like, I kind of have to do what I'm able to do.
Yeah.
I go a little hard in fight camp, so like sometimes I'll go into fights injured. So I'm a little limited on what I can do, but I'll still make it happen.
Right.
And this is kind of my first time, luckily. I'm clean right now. Like, I'm loving this.
Hell yeah.
I feel really good. Everything's firing on all cylinders. Again, I'm a Christian man. I think this is the stars aligning.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about diet and everything like that. Like, what are you eating? What's your routine as far as maybe meal prep or anything of that nature, especially when it comes to being so close to an upcoming fight?
I'm always eating very clean. When I'm out of a fight camp, though, I'm eating very clean in abundance. So, like, I'm having 3 pieces of grilled chicken with a pound of brown rice instead of now I'm halving my meals. I'm coming down slowly in weight.
Yeah.
So I'm always eating very clean. Like I fast almost every day.
Okay.
I'll do intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I'm big on fruits and vegetables because it has all the minerals that you need.
Of course.
And I'm big on protein because it keeps me full.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my, and then even when we go out to dinner, like especially now, I'll bring my own pasta with me, where it's like chickpea pasta.
Sure.
Like I'm always keeping it relatively clean, but right now I'm like ultra.
Yes.
Everything's got to be halved. Like I feel like you have to dial back, make sure the weight cut's gonna go smooth.
Right.
Because again, that's how you perform.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like that has to be a big factor in maybe either pressure or even stress in that matter, making that cut, no?
Yeah, it's on
as
your
long
mind
as,
always.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But once, I mean, it sounds like you're completely prepared for it 100%, but like, I guess less stress gets taken off in that aspect when it comes to that.
Same thing with the fight. Preparation gets rid of anxiety.
Yeah.
So you prepare for the weight cut, you prepare for the fight, you do everything by the book.
Yeah.
And again, on fight night, it's up to me to win, but it's not at the same time. Like, I will come in prepared on all ends, and whatever happens fight night, I'm okay with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, as far as weight classes, I think you mentioned it before. What weight class are you fighting at?
So I was fighting as an amateur at 145.
Okay.
But now going pro, we're going to drop down to 135. However, my coach was able to get me a catch weight matchup at 140.
Oh,
so I don't have to make that drastic change
Yeah.
at first. It's kind of like a mock cut almost.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
so
like
this is good.
taking a road trip to Florida, but you stop at South Carolina midway
100%.
across.
It's only going to be 5 extra pounds, you know, like just extra week of discipline.
Yes.
That's it. So it's good that he got me that matchup at this weight class.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure the other kid was happy about it too. Because who wants to drop 30, 40 pounds, you know?
Right. And especially in who knows like what sort of time period too, you know?
Of course, yeah.
That's a big factor of it as well.
Yeah.
What's a weight class that you would like to try out maybe in the future that's not in the realm of where you're at now or where you're going to be fighting in?
So, I mean, listen, I'm open to all. I'm in this sport to grow as a person.
Yeah.
So, I want to take on all. I would like to fight at all 3 weight classes. I would like to claim a title at 135 as a professional, whether it be regionally or major.
Right.
I also would like to compete at 145, and I'd like to give a run at 155 because I keep myself disciplined, but if I were to bulk up and go back into like my football days where I'm powerlifting and put on muscle, I can get pretty big. So I would like to try all 3 weight classes.
Yeah.
And I want to be active because I'm getting a little older now. I just turned 28, so I want to be fighting every couple months. So if they're whatever these 3 weight classes or matchups at, I'm taking.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I think you could do it, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, you hope.
Yeah,
you do
absolutely.
the best you can.
Yeah. But that is your preferred weight class that you're fighting at right now. That's the one you want to get, a title for and everything like that.
135 is my championship weight, I think.
Okay, very nice.
145, I was very dominant at as an amateur, but I know going forward, the guys, they were always bigger than me, but I had a significant edge in skill. Now we turn professional, higher level of competition, same skill level. We got to match same size now.
Yeah.
So dropping down to 135, I think I'll be evenly matched size-wise. Skill-wise, I think I'll still have an edge on guys. So I think 135 is going to be my championship weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. What's like a dream place that you would like to fight at? Like arena-wise, town-wise, city-wise, anything like that?
Damn, arena. Honestly, Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love that. Fight Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that.
Isn't that where like they were fighting most often during COVID and everything like that? Yeah,
that
it was,
arena
right?
looks fucking unbelievable.
Yeah,
dude.
it does. It does.
Unreal, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, that's like the dream spot. Hey, you'll make it there one day, man.
And the way they even treat like Dustin Poirier versus Khabib. I don't know if you saw that fight.
I don't remember. I'm not too sure.
That's Khabib's region. He's a Muslim from that region of the world.
Okay,
and Dustin Poirier still got so much love and respect at that stadium. That is a dream. I would also like to compete. So there's something called ADCC, where it's a jiu-jitsu only tournament.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, when I wrap up fighting, I plan on doing martial arts forever. I would like to compete in the Abu Dhabi championships.
Okay.
That's what I would really like. So it's strictly jiu-jitsu. I think it takes place, the trials are on the East Coast, West Coast, and then I think if you win the trials, you go to Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a future goal of mine as well.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Are you any sort of belt in jiu-jitsu? Like
yeah,
training-wise?
yeah, I'm
what
a purple.
You're purple belt.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
very nice.
I mean, maybe it's a little arrogant to say, but I think skill-wise, I'm a little above purple.
Okay.
So what happened was, we were training during COVID. Obviously, I was doing all my classes and I was gaining belts, and then COVID happened. My best training years for jiu-jitsu was from the lockdown till about 2022,
Really?
when everything kind of like started really or maybe earlier than that, when everything started coming back.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get credit for that time frame. Yeah.
Okay,
So what
gotcha.
happened was COVID happened, and then I got a friend of mine named Gaetano.
Okay.
He's a bad motherfucker. He's a businessman. Like, came up poor. Like, does everything that he sets his mind to. And when COVID happened, he shut down one of his warehouses, put mats down, and I was off work because all construction sites shut down.
Right.
8 hours a day, dude. We were grinding it out, and that's when my jiu-jitsu really, really developed.
Yes.
That's when I got my top pressure game, and my bottom game got a lot better. So that time frame was where I really grew, and I didn't get credit for it. So in my mind, I'm a brown black belt.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
You know, it's in a sense though, it's still good though. You're still purple belt because, like, listen, that just means you're gonna train even more now to get to that black belt and everything, and you'll be one of the better black belts.
Yeah,
without
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, of course. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, they make the joke. There's blue belts and there's competition blue belts.
Yeah,
like, they're they're the same belt, two different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, for someone that hasn't been in a competition before, just a mind state in general too. Like, it's just a difference. I think it's a big difference.
Yeah, 100%.
From just training to actually going up in a match or a competition or something of that nature.
Yeah, 100%.
I did jiu-jitsu back in I stopped in high school, but I actually stopped at purple belt too. Me and my brother Jesse.
You practice jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu at
Dude, we got to roll.
Dude, Caravaglio. Do you know Mark Caravaglio?
Where's it out of?
It's Monroe.
Monroe. Okay.
Yeah. On 33 too.
So did you know Gordon Ryan or no?
No.
No. All right.
No.
He's a pretty big name out of there. I was able to train with him during COVID too, so I didn't know if you knew. You know,
that,
like Gordon Ryan,
that trains at Caravaglio?
He's a Monroe kid. He's out of Henzo now, and then he moved to Texas.
Oh, maybe not then.
No.
Maybe not then. It was a while ago. The only one that I really remember is Mark's son, Mark, and he is phenomenal.
Yeah, dude, I didn't know you were purple belt in jiu-jitsu. We gotta get after it one day.
Dude, I would love to. Yeah, I don't know how well I do or whatnot.
You're a cerebral guy. You're probably pretty good.
Dude, I would love to get back into it too. I actually told a couple people that, to be honest with you, just to stay active and whatnot. It was a good time back in the day too. I loved to grapple and everything like that, even spar and everything of that nature. It was fun.
Yeah, man.
It was
cool.
a lot of fun.
I didn't know this. Oh, now we're definitely linking up.
All right, yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah.
Definitely. We're going to get you back into it.
Yes,
cool,
please.
Man, cool. You come to one of my classes one day. I'll get you in for free. We'll get some training in. Yeah, man.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to take your word on that. I'll keep that in mind.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
One of what I would love, dude, I would love to get everybody that I've interviewed that does MMA or trains in any sort of the way all together and just like learn each other's trade and everything like that. Yeah, of course,
man. Yeah, and we're all different styles, but we come from the same place. It's pretty crazy.
Yes,
That's the beautiful part about fighting.
Yes.
You know?
And what's also incredible too, I don't know if this is everywhere, but I feel like Freehold area especially.
It's a hotbed for it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a hotbed for it.
Yeah, big time.
It's almost like we feed off each other a little bit. Yeah, it's a hotbed. Howell, too. Howell's got some guys. I mean, it's a big wrestling culture around here. You know, like the Caracappa brothers were phenomenal wrestlers coming up, you know?
Right.
It's a big wrestling culture. It's Jersey. Jersey's like a mini Russia. When it comes to wrestling, like they always say that.
How were you in wrestling back in high school and whatnot?
So I was good. Again, I couldn't keep my shit together when I was a kid. I had a weird childhood, so like it made me a little bit of a fuck up in high school.
That's all right, man.
I was very good. I'd win almost all my matches. I had the potential to be states, regions, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I just couldn't keep my shit together.
That's all right,
yeah.
dude. Yeah, it happens to the best of us too. Because look at you, you're going professional now.
Yeah,
baby,
now
you know?
I mean, again, I'm a God's man, so I think He put me on that trajectory for a reason. Because now we're here, about to hit the prime of our life, instead of wasting it back then on who potentially really didn't matter yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Wrestling was something I always wanted to get into. My dad really wanted me to get into wrestling when I was younger too, because I mean I had a growth spurt obviously, but I was a short kid too back in the day, and I think that would have been to my advantage also when it came to wrestling.
I love. I mean, especially the style I have. I love being low to the ground. It's good. Yeah.
What's like the number one tactic, the best strategy to go about wrestling? Or is it like what you said, you can't predict?
Array,
yeah, you can't predict.
We had guys on our team like Cole Cameron who were like gritty, and then we had other guys who were funky, and everybody did well in their own right. Howell had a lot of guys who did well in states. We were actually a state team as a whole. Okay. So like aside from the individual, like our team was super dominant, and everyone had a different style, but every guy in their weight class was phenomenal. We had our gritty guys who would try to break guys. We had our funky guys who like to be smooth with it. We had a lot of different array of styles, and every one of our styles worked.
It worked, yeah.
So like whatever you are as a wrestler or as a fighter, like if you make it work for you, it's gonna work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Now, how about this one? When your very first fight ever that you had, was there any sort of mental block, or maybe your mentality was down, maybe from talking to your own self, or like the pressure got to you in any sort of way? If that did ever happen, what was your strategy in getting out of that? Or even for dark times for that matter, right? Like a dark time and whatnot, and you wanted to go to a fight to use as an outlet. What's your way to express that?
So that's a tough one for me. I never, luckily, have had a time where I was mentally blocked off from fighting, where I was having like any doubts or anything. I was always super passionate about it. So like I was always okay with however it was going to go. Yeah. So that's a tough one. But like I've had dark times in my past where like I was down, and it does take a lot to come back from. I always resort back to prayer and meditation. Okay, it always grounds you and brings you back.
Yeah.
You know?
Everyone has their own sort of flow and strategy when it comes to picking yourself back up and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like an outlet like fight and meditation too. Meditation's fantastic. During COVID, actually, I got into it a little bit. I have a buddy, Steve, lives in Monroe also, and he got me into meditation for a little bit because I was going through a weird time too at the current moment. Yeah. Meditation's great, yoga's great, everything of that nature. All that, man. Awesome.
You got to get to know yourself.
Yeah,
you have to get to know yourself. If you block it out, that's what I think, guys, because I see guys in the gym who are world beaters in the gym, but come fight night, they kind of fall apart a little bit, or they're like nervous and this and that. It's because they never take the time to like. You got to get to know yourself. Yeah, you got to get to know. You're gonna doubt yourself, but that's not real. Right. You're gonna have fear, but that's not real. Like these aren't real emotions. You know what I mean? Like these are all. Like you're tricking yourself. You're trying to protect yourself and get out of a bad situation, but then the bad situation ends and you're like, oh, I'm fine. And I did great.
Exactly.
So like all that bullshit is fake. Yeah. Even when you get, I mean, I'm not saying depression's fake because it's real. I dealt with it as well. When I was things.
I know what you're talking about. But
it's not. It's you gotta get through it. There's no way around it. When you're at a dark time and you're at a mental block, you gotta just sit down and be like, You gotta just get through it.
100%. And then you look back at it and I was like, oh shit, that wasn't that bad.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Who's a fighter that's in the UFC right now that you would love to match up with?
Sugar Sean.
Yeah, Molly. Yeah. Fight. He's awesome, by the way.
He's awesome. He's a great matchup for me.
I think that would be a sick matchup. I haven't seen you fight.
I mean, obviously, like I'm early in my career. I'm not gonna get arrogant and be like,
no, but like, yeah, right.
I'd be pretty happy if I made it to where I had to be and he still had the belt. I tell my fiance all the time, I'm like, yo, I would beat that motherfucker. Yeah, you know, like I would love to match up with him.
He's a very like deceptive human being. I feel like he's a pretty skinny guy, like in a sense, but he is shredded. Don't get me wrong.
Nah, he's
and
good.
He's
a
good kicks
fighter.
ass.
Yeah, he's a good fighter.
He kicks ass.
He's another one. I actually take a lot away from. I listen to him a lot too. Corey Sandhagen, all these guys. He's very big on being present in the moment as well.
Yeah,
he's another guy. He's a superstar, but you get imposter syndrome. So he'll talk about it himself, and he'll be like, you just bring yourself back to your breath. He talks to himself too fast, too strong, or he has like a saying he says to himself, and then boom, he goes out and he fights. So like he's a guy I kind of look up to in that sense. Corey, I mean, listen, just because I look up to these guys doesn't mean I wouldn't love to get matched up with them.
Of course, yeah. Right, absolutely. Sean O'Malley too is great in interviews that I see him in.
Yeah,
he like hangs out and does these videos with these YouTube stars too, and they're hilarious.
Yeah,
great personality, that guy.
That's who he is. He's cool as hell. I got to meet him. He came actually. My bachelor party. I don't drink. I don't party. So like I went out and I got to train a lot. I got to see him. I saw Henry Cejudo.
No, I don't think.
So they both live in Arizona. Henry was the previous champ. He's the champion now. So I got to go out and like experience like different gyms and how they operate. Their team, Sugar Sean's team, very smart guys. Tim Welch, those guys, they got it down to a science. So it was cool to see that.
Yeah, how they work,
how they operate,
they operate. Yeah. So you got to meet him. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool guy. He had to have been a sick, awesome guy.
Especially how how you see him, what you get, what he gives is what it is. Like that's who he is. He's not faking that. That's why he's so likable.
Right.
All these guys that are being themselves, they're so likable. So he's really like a cool guy who likes to smoke weed. He's got an open relationship with his wife. Like they're very like who he is. What you see is what you get.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why he's a likable guy.
Exactly, and that's what make people appreciate him too. Being that open book in a sense.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. As far as diet, we talked about diet and everything like that. That might be most that I have for you, man. Unless, what are your like future goals in like the next 5 years? Say,
obviously, marry my fiance.
Yes, congrats once again on that. That's incredible.
Yeah, she's a freaking awesome, man. During all this, because I mean, for 6-7 weeks, I'm me, but like she knows like when we're sitting on the couch and like I'm being quiet, like I'm visualizing some shit about the fight or I'm knee deep in a sequence, and she knows like, all right, let him go. Or like if she's very good. She's really good, man. So I got lucky in that aspect.
Let's talk about this now that you're bringing that up. Support system.
Yeah.
How important is it to you? And how who is your main support system as far as encouragement, everything of that nature?
So obviously my fiance, she's even down to meal prepping my meals to make sure I'm not messing up when I'm at work and stuff. She's unbelievable. Yeah. She's really good. All my teammates.
Yeah.
My teammates are great. We even got guys in the gym that are not fighting yet. Like this one kid, Antonio Bongiovanni. He's not even a fighter. He's a jiu-jitsu competitor. He's my fucking heart as goes. Like, it's pretty incredible how that works out. But all my teammates between Billy Markle, Mark Gray, Paul Capaldo, Frankie Edgar, Ryan Andrus, Jermaine Diaz, like all these guys. If I missed anybody, my bad.
Yeah.
Justin Rosario, like all these guys, they push me. So my teammates, they're first and foremost, those are my guys.
Yeah.
Family.
Yes.
So my mom, weirdly, loves this shit. Like she's like, you were meant to do this.
Love that.
This is what you're gonna do. My father, they're separated, so like I talk to them both in different aspects, and it's so funny when I see my mom, like she's like, when's the fight? I gotta get tickets, I gotta book a hotel room, like I can't wait to watch you fight, like awesome. Regardless of outcome, like super excited about it. My dad and my sister, they get a little bit nervous.
Okay.
You know, they I don't know why, like I've been competing my whole life, and they still, even when I played football, like they always got a little bit like, do you need to do this? It's like, yeah, I need to do this.
Right.
Like this is who I am. It's what I'm gonna do.
Yes.
My best man, my cousin Mikey, he's phenomenal with everything. Like he again always checking how you doing, how's the weight. Like he's not involved in the sport, but since I got into the sport, he's always been heavily like, how are you doing? So he's always checking on me and stuff. And yeah, my support system is phenomenal.
I think that's a huge thing to have.
Even my friends, when I was messed up and I was like, when I was in my dark time and I was abusing things that I shouldn't have been abusing, like I would be fucked up on their couch and like just being like, yeah, like one day I'm gonna be a champion, like on drinking alcohol, like doing whatever we were doing. Yeah. And they'd be like, yeah, you are. Like they always believed in me, even way back when I was messing up, getting into trouble, you know. So them too as well. Like I'm so lucky with all the people I have around me, and I feel like God put me on this trajectory and he put these people around me to help me move forward in my life.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know if this is crossing a line or anything, asking you this and whatnot, but when you're clean now, as far as like drinking and everything, you don't drink at all or anything like that.
7 years sober, yeah.
That's incredible, man. Very good for you.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
7 years.
Awesome. And I'm sure it's one of the best decisions you made in your life.
Yeah. Hard.
I'm sure it was very difficult.
I started trying like 9 years ago, but I kept you fall, you get up,
of course,
you get up, and you get nervous, like holy shit, am I just never gonna beat this thing?
Right.
So it wasn't even alcohol so much, it was other things.
Sure.
I had some, you
don't got to get into it, but I was just curious how long you've been like straight off alcohol and everything. Because listen, alcohol, it's promoted everywhere. Yeah. It's out there everywhere. Like it's, especially at our age and everything, it's kind of like almost everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Surrounded.
At first, everybody hated that. Not hated that I got sober. Obviously, I became a better guy. But they're all like, "Oh, like you ever gonna have a drink again?" It's like, you know what? I don't even ask me that.
Yeah, right.
This is who I am now.
Right.
You know? Do I know what the future holds? Hopefully, I don't ever drink again.
Yeah.
But I can't answer those type of questions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And what was the number one tactic for you, as far as stopping like alcohol, basically?
Everything was hard.
I'm sure it was.
It was hard.
Like this, this thing, I've tried to stop this 5 different times. I maybe went a week or 2.
It's your mind. It's all mind over matter.
I know, exactly.
It's all mind over matter. I had a lot of friends that I grew up with. Like, I ran around with, like, a pretty tough group of kids that were all from broken homes.
Yeah.
All of them, we all grew up, like, doing some bad things to our bodies, too.
Sure,
and they're all super successful businessmen. My buddy Justin Hines, who was probably the craziest kid you would ever meet, and now he's, like, an engineer for...
that's like, incredible.
Everybody and we all had the same mentality. When we were done with it, that's it. Mind over matter.
Yes.
So, like, it was fall down, get up, but eventually, that's it. I'm done. That's not who I am anymore.
Yeah.
And luckily I had MMA, so I didn't have to do the whole rehab and
right.
Put the burden on my family. Like, once I really got dove deep and I was like, MMA is what I'm going to give my life to right now, that's when it was super easy to get clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gave me a lot of discipline.
Discipline and mind over matter, too. I think that's the motto of this podcast as far as fighting, quitting stuff, everything of that nature, I think.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's incredible. Good for you, man. I had someone else on the podcast. His name's Mike Kirk. A while ago.
Sounds super familiar.
He's a skateboarder. Okay. He has his own like brand called Mocha. And he's been straight for the past 12 years or something like that. And he was telling me his story. Like, stuff like that inspires me so much.
Yeah.
So much. And it's just absolutely incredible. So good for you, and I'm happy for you, too.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. As well. One last question, a little fun question I got for you. Do you have a walkout song?
I do.
What is it?
Jesus Walks by Kanye West.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. That's great. I love... Listen... Kanye has his controversies and everything. I like him as an artist. The last guys I fought for, CFFC, they actually fucked with me about that. Like, I remember I watched the fight back and they're like, oh, he's walking out to Kanye. It's like, hey, whoa. Yeah.
The song, it's not Kanye.
You gotta put some respect on the name.
Of course,
you got it.
That song.
Yeah.
However, I was thinking about changing just for like maybe a couple fights, but I don't think I can. Because when it hits the speakers and I'm walking out and it's... The lyrics are the lyrics. I feel like I'm talking to God. So, like, I like it a lot. Yeah.
And it has to speak to you. It has to pump you up.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
I'm
glad.
It does.
If there was any other song out there, like you said, you might want to change it up. Did you have an idea of what it would be?
I got a wide array, but nothing
concrete, right?
Jesus Walks.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Very nice. And was that something you chose right away, or is that something you even had to think about?
I was cutting weight for my first fight, and I was, you got to do your miles, you got to run, and I'm running, and it just hit the speakers, and like, you know how it is when a song hits, and you get the chills.
It speaks to you.
I'm picturing myself in the fight while that song's playing. Like, I was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what it is. I'm on death's door cutting weight, and I'm fired up right now because of this song. Like, I can't walk out to anything else.
Right.
So once I felt that, and every time I walk out, I get that same feeling like, all right, you're in the fucking moment. You're about to fight. Like, get excited. This shit isn't scary. This is cool that you're able to do this.
Absolutely.
So that's why I love that song. It's like a meditation. It gathers me back to like, we're here. It's now. Like, regardless of outcome, like, this is your time, and that's it.
It's like a good trigger.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Good shit, man. You seem to have it down to a science, and it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to congratulate you again on both getting married, going professional.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And I would love to go come and see one of your fights one day, too.
Yeah, man, dude. Yeah. I mean, listen, we're going to bang this one out. I think I'm going to get a pretty good win. I mean, that's what I'm picturing, so hopefully. But no matter what, we're back at the Hard Rock or Tropicana, probably going to be around April or May. Because we're heading out to Thailand and Bali for our honeymoon.
For the honeymoon.
Yeah. So we're going to head out to Bali, then maybe a little bit of Thailand. I'm going to get a lot of kickboxing training in.
Oh,
we're going to go for like 3 weeks. Yeah.
Good
come
for
home,
you guys.
start camp back up. So win this fight. My next objective is marry my fiance, go on the honeymoon, train, and then back in the cage probably April or May.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at. And then we're going to be active from there. I'd like May. I'm going to run it like a season. May. I'd like June or July, September, December. So that's what I'd like to do. Run it like that.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Well, you got to let me know next time you have a fight going on around that time, and I'll definitely be coming by, especially if it's an AC too.
Dude,
or something
of course,
like that.
Yeah, we'll sell the place out, man.
Yeah, I'm coming. And I'll promote it everywhere too on the socials and whatnot.
Thank you, bro.
Speaking of, if you want to speak to the camera as far as where they could find you on social media so they could find out when upcoming fights are, you can let them know right now.
Yeah, of course. I'm on Instagram, Nick_Carrelli. Yeah, that's about it.
All right.
That's it, man. That's all I got. Nothing too crazy yet. Just I'll be posting about the fights. I got links for tickets, the whole 9 yards.
Absolutely. Very nice. And all that information will be in the description below too, as far as socials and everything else of that nature too.
Cool, man.
Nick, I want to thank you again for joining the pod. It was excellent to meet you too. And it was great to see Angelica again as well. So for you guys at home watching, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Also follow us on all social media platforms at Frank_videos. And you can also listen to this podcast audio only version now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. So make sure to check us out there too. All right, that'll do it for us. Have a wonderful night and peace out. The beauty of Ghostface, in my opinion, is that it could be anybody. And that's the best part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could be anyone.
It could be anybody. I love the mystery behind Ghostface with each movie, trying to guess who it is, as far as the ones that I've seen anyway. I also love the fact that there can be more than one Ghostface per movie too. That's also another factor that tricks you in guessing who it could be. I hope that with the new Scream that comes out, it's the last one, and it completes this new trilogy that they got going on here. And I've been seeing some foreshadowing in the past 2 movies of who the next Ghostface might just be. And I hope they go in that direction. So I'll just leave it as that.